in the 80s, crack came in the communities, a lot of drugs, human trafficking, police brutality, and all of those things was leading to what we call that murder capital. So I was thinking that it was the young men. They the ones that was acting it out. They the ones that was getting in trouble. And, so I'm saying, okay, I need to create some type of curriculums for these men. When I started working on the doctorate, that's when I found out that it wasn't the youth, it was the fathers. The youth was only the byproduct of the issue, but the root cause was fatherlessness. And everything pointed back to a lack of a father.
We believe that the next wave of innovation is innovation in the area of social impact.
We want to try to bring awareness about the incarcerated.
A huge number of people are currently homeless simply because they could not get legal help.
A safe place where they can get set free.
There's no hack for human connection.
Codependency is an addiction.
Do not try to do this big thing at once. Start with a little.
When you're searching for the gold, you will get back so much more than you ever thought possible.
So what do you think? The ball's in your court.
Welcome to the Innovat3 Podcast. We're here in the Presidio at the House of Web3 in the Presidio in San Francisco. And Innovat3, powered by Geo, it's all about working together, collaborating together, bringing the best ideas to make the world better, to solve the world's biggest challenges. So today I get to talk with my good friend Stewart Perrilliat. It's good to be with you here. Stewart is Dr. Stewart Perrilliat. He's the founder of Man to Man Urban Youth Outreach. We met in San Quentin Prison. Neither of us has been incarcerated by God's grace.
Amen.
But we've been working in there. So Stewart, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Stewart Perrilliat, Dr. Stewart Perrilliat, as Ted has shared. I run a program called Man to Man Urban Youth Advocate, which is a multifaceted program. It deals with men on just about every level, from men in masculinity to emotions, to conflict resolution, domestic violence, but we specialize in fatherhood.
You got your doctorate in fatherlessness or something like that. Tell me about your doctorate thesis.
So I wrote my thesis on disadvantaged young men in urban communities. And I went back to East Oakland to the 1940s because I was trying to figure out when I was growing up, it was so diversified. There was lots of businesses for African Americans. People were getting out to service and they were staying in Oakland. And they seen this advanced mobility where they can start businesses and things. But what happened was when I ended up graduating from high school, Oakland was the murder capital.
Wow. So you saw that shift from, in your formative years.
Had 4 military bases, so you had a lot of people that didn't live in Oakland, but they were coming from different places of the world, so it was really diversified. But then in the 80s, crack came in the communities, a lot of drugs, human trafficking, police brutality, and all of those things was leading to what we call that murder capital. So I was thinking that it was the young men. I needed to focus on the young men.
So you wanted to study that to figure out why, get answers.
Right.
And you thought it was the young men. That was your premise.
Yeah, because that's
the young men screwed it up.
They the ones that was acting it out. They the ones that was getting in trouble. And so I'm saying, okay, I need to create some type of curriculums for these men so that we can, give them some skills. But when I started working on the doctorate, that's when I found out that it wasn't the youth, it was the fathers. The youth was only the byproduct of the issue, but the root cause was fatherlessness.
So this whole doctoral thesis must have been quite an emotional awakening for you. It's not just an academic exercise.
No. I don't want to talk anything about that. But the Lord put that on my heart, and it's like, you know what? Who better to talk about it than you? You've experienced it. And so that's when we started focusing on, okay, why do we have an issue with homelessness and poverty, human trafficking, and incarceration, and high school dropouts, and mental health issues, and public safety issues, and public health issues? And everything pointed back to a lack of a father, a father that's fatherlessness, are in prison, are on drugs.
And then it's a generational cycle that keeps getting passed down. And then you can say, why are those fathers not there? Then you go, well, they didn't have fathers, so they keep passing down their experience.
Or you have fathers that lives in the home, they're present, but they're emotionally disconnected. So it's just like they don't have a father. They come to work every day, they're at home, but they're not pouring into their children. They're not telling them or showing them what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman.
Wow. So that's the problem, and your life work is to address that and be part of the solution. Tell me more about your experience, though. Let's dive into your childhood. What was it like for you? Did you have no father or an absentee father that wasn't there emotionally?
Yeah, I had a father that
We
was
all
at
had
home.
a father.
I had a father. He was at home, but he was one of those fathers. He did really well probably the first 5 years of my life. Now, I'm the youngest of 3 boys.
Okay.
So my oldest brother and my middle brother, who's deceased now, they probably had different stories because they had more time to experience that father that I didn't experience. But after about 5 or 6 years of me, I'm 5 or 6 years old, my father started drifting away. And when I say drifting away, he started getting into other things and associating with other people.
Wow. Do you know what happened in his life?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My dad, father was from France. He's a white man.
Interesting.
And he connected with a woman in the French quarters in New Orleans. And she got pregnant. And that's when my grandfather came. But I'm finding out later that my grandfather really had no relationship with his father. I asked him, I said, what's your grandfather's name? He paused a little bit and said he didn't know.
Oh, wow.
I said, man, you don't know your grandfather's name? I said it just like that. Because I'm trying to figure out, how do you not know? Now, I'm not knowing the history. I'm not knowing.
Oh, wow. So you're what? How old are you at this age?
I'm junior high.
Okay.
And you could tell he was embarrassed. And then later on, he said, out of the blue, maybe 4 or 5 hours later, Joseph. I said, Joseph? Grandfather's name is Joseph. They wouldn't he wanted his children to live with him. This is how they did those days. And why fatherhood is important. He wanted his children, these are his biological children. They gave him to the grandmother. Said he wasn't suitable to taking care of his own children. So then he got remarried to a younger woman who had no children and wanted children. And so that's when my dad, his brothers came into the scene. Now you think about it, Ted. You grow up having a father that you can walk on this same sidewalk and he doesn't even acknowledge you.
Wow. Wow.
How would you feel?
Yeah.
There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of resentment.
You don't, and then you're young. You're a child. You don't know. That's just the way you view the world. I mean, yeah. I remember, like, I came to appreciate my childhood growing up, and connecting with guys like you that had a different experience. Mm-hmm. But like, I remember my childhood. Like, this is the trauma I experienced. Mm-hmm. I had done something wrong. I was always getting in trouble. And my father disciplined me. This was back when you could spank a kid and not be taken to court.
Right.
Spank me over something. And then, as a kid, you're feeling bad. Mm-hmm. And we're in, our home. And it's like literally seconds after he spanked me. And I run across, he's going, we're in the hallway together. Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling like, because you feel the relationship's broken. And I remember walking up to him and he asked me about something. I thought he was going to lecture me some more. He was talking about something entirely different. Mm-hmm. And I go like, I don't even think he remembers that he just spanked me. Mm-hmm. And what that did to me is this unconditional acceptance that like he would discipline me. It was about the issue. We'd address it. And I was so secure in his love.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. I used to think I was good at basketball because I worked hard. I wasn't talented like you. I was tall and clumsy, and I had to work hard,
Right.
And I just worked hard. I'd play against guys. They'd beat me. A couple of years later, I'd meet the same guys, and they weren't even in the same league.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look back, I go, that was even that. I had the stability. I had this mind. I was safe. That came from my father's. You don't realize that, but then to think, man, this is a total void. If you don't have that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really unfortunate. Now my father, he took us fishing. He took us on trips. So you took advantage of that because that was very rare. But Christmas, he must have had a bad Christmas every year. I don't know what it is, but Christmas, he was just disconnected. He wasn't there. Or he take your Christmas present and throw it to you, say Merry Christmas, go back to sleep, And again, like you said, you think that's the norm. It was something,
So so you were the golden child, bright, brilliant, and very, very talented at sports.
Well, yeah.
Did you ever feel like that? Obviously you excelled in sports and you got lots of accolades for that. Talk more about that.
From the 1st grade to the 6th grade, I fought every day.
Wow.
Every single day I had a
Wow.
fight.
Wow.
And it wasn't because I wanted to. It's because I was very skinny and I was a light-skinned person and they just thought that I was soft. It wasn't until I started playing basketball that I got out of that fighting.
Okay. Then you fought on the court.
And so my passion...
When did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball in the 4th grade.
Okay.
But, when you start talking about organized basketball against different leagues, that was in the 7th grade, 6th and 7th grade.
Okay.
I started turning my life around in the 6th grade.
Ninth
and I
grade,
was
yeah.
5'10".
Okay.
So if he could dunk, I'm dunking.
5'10".
5'10".
Wow.
And so that
Yeah, I think I was 6'3" in the 9th grade. I wasn't dunking until the 10th grade. I was not this phenomenal athlete. Wow.
But it's always been a challenge on the court. And I was talking to some guys the other day in one of my classes, and I said, on the basketball court, I go into a gym and I watch these cats playing. And the person who I see is scoring the most points, grabbing all the rebounds and doing everything. And I'm studying the whole game, right? I'm on the sidelines because I got winners. And I'm like, I got him.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's going to show me up or I'm going to show him up.
Yeah.
But I refuse to let him show me up because that's still that fighting passion.
Yeah.
I'm taking all that negative energy that I have at the house. Because my dad was also very abusive. So emotionally and physically,
That's
and
tough.
people never knew this growing up. They never knew. My dad has never come to any of my basketball games.
Wow.
Elementary school, junior high school,
I
high
wore
school.
my parents out. They were at every single game.
And that's
They
why,
would drive. When I was in college, I lived 90-minute drive from them, and then we'd play all over. They were at every single college game, not to mention the high school game.
Yeah, no. And you played better when your dad was there, right? Have you ever
know.
played
He's
when he
always
wasn't
there.
there? He's never missed a game?
To me, I don't know if I played better when he was there or not.
Yeah.
The point is that what he imparted to me, and the reason I played good, is this huge impartation, I also had a brother too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my secret. I have a brother who's 18 months older than me. So he was always taller and stronger, and we would play one-on-one and he would kill me. Never win, never let me win once. I'd try my best. And then he graduates and I realized I got the better half of that deal.
Right.
But it's this being raised in this environment where attention, where love, is not a scarce resource.
Mhm.
It's abundant all around.
Mhm.
And that's why, me and my brother, we're 5 siblings, we're still very, very close, like the advantage that gives you in every area,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, it helps. I was that dad to my children.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I tried to do everything that my father didn't do. But when you think about, as you asked about basketball, and Oakland being the murder capital, basketball was my exit out of Oakland. I figured, if I can just play ball, I can get out of here.
What I like is how you use this to fuel your own journey now, So fast forward a little, you said basketball was your key out, and you did get a key out.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened then? You got a full ride scholarship to UCLA. That means you're pretty elite. Not very many people get a full ride scholarship to UCLA.
Well, the coach for UCLA at the time, before he got that job at UCLA, was at Chapman College. And then he got the job at UCLA. And because I didn't have the grades, I went to a junior college.
Okay.
And I felt like I'll just stay there for a year and then I'll go to UCLA. And what happened was I screwed all that up. I wasn't going to class, wasn't taking it serious. And then I got in a fight with the coach, And the reason why, and I'll fast forward this, pride. Pride was the key to that. There was coaches asking about me, and he said, don't worry about him. He's only a freshman. He'll be back next year. And I said, I won't be back next year. And I sabotaged that future.
There you go. It's, pride is built upon insecurity. Mm-hmm. And, you have this insecurity, and it's back to this father wound.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
So grew up I didn't know I was poor, but I never had money. We had food, but when other people would go to the stores and, go buy hamburgers and stuff, I wouldn't participate. So I told myself I wasn't going to be broke anymore. And so I found ways to create money.
You're a very gifted entrepreneur.
I was a very gifted
and
entrepreneur.
If you're a gifted entrepreneur that was born in your time in East Oakland, the opportunities before you are very slim. So you excelled in the industry that was available to you. It's not necessarily legal.
Yeah. And so I came back that summer and losing a lot of friends, a lot of drive-by shootings and killings and missing identities. A lot of people were saying, I know you, and they didn't know me. And so I said, you know what, I need some discipline in my life. And that's when I joined the Marines. I joined the Marines so I can, try to get the stuff that I didn't get from my dad. And here's the thing. I joined the Marines, went through boot camp, was stationed at Camp Pendleton, got orders to Virginia, and Oakland was still in me. So I did it because I wanted to improve myself and said in 4 years, I'll go back and play college ball. And I got derailed. And everything that I used to do in Oakland, you times that by 10. Making...
Typical story of you can get the boy out of the ghetto, but getting the ghetto out of the boy is more challenging. And you took that with you.
Took it everywhere I went. And had an opportunity while I was in Virginia. The Duke coach came to recruit me. But because of the activities that I was doing, even in the military, when you come dressed in a suit, you look like you're the naval investigator. And so they was like, no, I don't know who he is. Do you know Stewart Perrilliat? I don't know who he is, And so again, sabotage. I had so many opportunities, man, to get it right, But the fast forward, I ended up getting out to service. I worked for the shipyard. I went through the apprenticeship program, the engineering program, and graduated from there, came back to Oakland. They had all these military bases, so I figured, you know what? I'm gonna retire from the military, as a government worker. They shut down every one of them. Every one of them. And this time I was saved. I had given my life to the Lord. And so I was,
So that was the catalyst that began the turnaround.
Yeah.
You overcoming your own fatherlessness.
Yeah.
Okay.
and so using basketball as a gift, in 1995, I went in and played against the inmates. And
In San Quentin prison?
in San Quentin
Oh,
prison.
wow.
Yeah. And
What
they
year
had an
was
A
that?
team, a B team, 1995.
Oh, it's way back in the day.
Yeah. And that's when they were a level 4. And they had an A team and a B team, and both those teams was tough.
Yeah.
And this was before the Golden State Warriors. But we would play, and then at halftime we would come together and we would do a mini sermon, and then we'd go back and play. And then after the game, we would build relationships with these guys. And that's when I really realized the gift, working with men, because it was easy
So
to
that
have
was the roots
conversation.
of what you're doing now.
Yes.
We need a transformation to bring healing to our society from the inside out. And everyone's got to get involved.
Everybody
Well,
needs to get involved.
I mean, you're right on the front lines. I love I love the work you're doing. You're such an inspiration, and I love your hope. So, how can people reach you? How can people, someone's watching this, they want to learn more. How can they find you?
They can go on to our website, which is man-to-man-uya.org. They can follow me in Facebook. Just type in Man to Man.
Okay. Well, are you most active on Facebook? Is that the social media platform?
Social media, Instagram,
Okay.
TikTok. You just put man, number 2, man,
Okay.
dash UYA,
Okay.
and they can find me. But the website has all the resources, and it also has the point of contacts as well. If they want to see the work that I do, they just Google my name, and they can see
Stewart Perrilliat.
Yeah. Stewart,
Yes.
and then Perrilliat.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to spell it. I finally figured out how to spell it by spelling it properly in my phone, so I can always look for it.
So yeah, and they can follow me on that. But the best way is to go on the website, and then if they want to be a volunteer, or they want to give a donation, or they have somebody that they want in our program, they can.
Or they want to invite you to come speak at their church or their community event. Yeah, you're a very charismatic, dynamic speaker. So
Ted, you're so nice, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, man. This was excellent. I'm a huge fan of the work you do and trying to support it as best we can. And let's create a world where the family's healed, where fathers have the resources they need to, be good fathers and raise their kids properly.
Now I got one last thing I want to share with you.
Okay. Closing words.
So, Father's Day was last Sunday, right?
Yes.
And my daughter just graduated from high school, and she's a camp leader, and they were training her up to Father's Day. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna hang out with my daughter and my son. On Father's Day is when the new campers arrived. So she couldn't spend time with her father because campers are going camping, Now you tell me, will they ever do that on Mother's Day? I guarantee you nowhere in the world they're going to have anything camping or anything on Mother's Day. But that's how much they think about fathers.
So we got to change that.
We got to change
the culture. But things are changing and we're hopeful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep up the good work. And thank you so much for joining us. This is the Innovat3 Podcast, and explore the other episodes. And thank you for your attention.